All right, so today we're going to dive deep, really deep, into the world of Palmer Luckey.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, I mean,
Fascinating, right?
he founded Oculus, like the VR headset.
And yeah, exactly.
But then he goes and starts Anduril, this whole defense tech company.
Totally different world, right?
And we've got a lot of his insights, like from interviews, articles, all sorts of stuff.
We're talking AI, robots,
Right.
military tech, even a bit about his entrepreneurial journey, the whole thing.
The goal here is to really understand where he sees all this tech heading.
Yeah, and to kind of distill all of that down for everyone listening
Exactly.
so we can all make sense of it.
Okay, so one of the first things that jumped out at me was Lucky's take on humanoid robots in the military.
Oh, yeah, that's a juicy one.
Right. Like when you hear that, you immediately think Terminator, right?
Total sci-fi, yeah.
Battlefields, robots with guns, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, but Lucky's not saying that at all.
No, not even close.
He's got this really specific, almost like unexpected vision for them.
So what? He doesn't see them fighting on the front lines.
No, he actually sees them more in a support role, like operating complex systems,
Like what? Give me an example.
He mentioned missile defense systems.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like constant monitoring.
Exactly. And precision, things that, humans might get fatigued doing.
Right, and robots wouldn't.
Plus, he also talked about them handling those, dangerous but repetitive tasks.
The stuff nobody really wants to do.
Yeah, and that frees up the human personnel for, more critical stuff.
So it's not about replacing soldiers, it's more like augmenting them.
Exactly, making things more efficient and, honestly, probably safer.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, take the human element out of, high risk but low decision-making tasks.
Right.
And when we're talking about the military, the ethical stuff around AI is huge.
Yeah.
And Luckey is very clear about where he draws the line.
He's talking about lethal force, isn't he?
Yeah, the decision to use lethal force should always, always be made by a human.
No robot overlords.
Nope, no Skynet situation.
Okay, I'm with him on that one.
It's that whole question of accountability, right?
And control, who's ultimately responsible.
Exactly.
All right, so moving on, let's talk about exoskeletons.
Oh, like Iron Man suits.
That's what I always think of.
Yeah, it's like a science fiction staple.
Totally, but Luckey has a different take on them.
Yeah, he's not quite as sold on them for military use, at least.
Why not? They seem so cool and powerful.
I know, right? But his reasoning is pretty practical.
So, what, they're not actually that useful in combat?
Well, he thinks that autonomous or remotely controlled robots would be more effective.
So instead of enhancing a soldier, you just have a whole robot.
Yeah, more agility, more power,
And probably less risk to a human soldier.
Right, exactly. It's a trade-off.
But he does see potential for exoskeletons.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just not so much in a war zone.
So where does he see them being used?
He's more optimistic about civilian and medical applications.
Like helping people with mobility issues?
Exactly, like kids or the elderly, anyone who needs assistance with movement.
Okay, so less Iron Man, more like assistive tech.
Exactly. It's about using the technology where it makes the most sense.
I mean, that's a good point.
And that kind of leads us to Anduril, Lucky's own company.
Right, the defense tech company.
Yeah, and they didn't exactly have the smoothest start.
I remember reading something about them being called like the most controversial company in tech.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of pushback early on.
Because they were working with the military?
Yeah, some people in Silicon Valley weren't comfortable with that.
I can see how that would be a sensitive topic.
Definitely. But if you look at Lucky's motivation, he saw a need for change in the defense industry.
He thought it was too slow, too expensive.
Yeah, he basically wanted to disrupt the whole system.
Shake things up a bit.
Exactly, bring in some of that Silicon Valley speed and innovation.
So he wanted to modernize defense contracting.
And save taxpayers' money in the process.
Ambitious.
And risky.
Yeah.
But that's Lucky.
I mean, he did kind of the same thing with Oculus, right?
In a way, yeah. But Oculus started from a much more personal place.
I think I read that he was just really into gaming and VR.
Yeah, it wasn't about building a business empire at first.
It was more like a passion project.
Yeah, he saw a problem, a need for better VR, and he went for it.
And then he got that massive offer, right? Like $1 billion for Oculus.
Yeah, and he turned it down.
That's wild. Like, why would you do that?
He believed in the tech, thought it could be even bigger.
So he held out for more.
Not necessarily. He wanted the right partner, the right vision.
And that's where Facebook came in.
Yeah, he sold Oculus to Facebook for $2.3 billion.
Still a huge amount of money.
Yeah, But it wasn't just about the money for Luckey.
He wanted Facebook to invest heavily in VR, right?
That was the whole point, to push the technology forward.
And they did, didn't they? Meta has poured billions into the metaverse.
Way more than Luckey initially hoped for. It's crazy.
It's like he had this intuition about the future of VR.
And he bet on it big time.
But then things went south with Facebook, right?
Yeah, he ended up leaving, felt like he was pushed out.
Can imagine that being pretty rough.
It definitely fueled him, though. Like, motivated him to start Anduril.
So adversity breeds innovation.
It happens a lot, actually.
And Anduril is doing pretty well, right? They just got that massive military contract.
Yeah, $22 billion to develop a heads-up display system for soldiers.
That's insane. What's so special about this system?
Well, for one, it's inspired by science fiction, like straight out of Starship Troopers.
Wow, seriously, like the book.
Yeah, the book, which is pretty cool, right?
That's so cool. How does that even work? Like, what does it do?
It's all about giving soldiers real-time information.
Like, what kind of information?
Everything. Enemy positions, maps, communication, all powered by AI.
So basically giving them an edge in combat.
Making them more aware, more effective, and safer.
Okay, I'm starting to see how Luckey connects all these dots.
He's not just a tech guy, he's a visionary.
A bit controversial, but definitely a visionary.
He's not afraid to push boundaries.
And he gets results. I mean, look at Oculus and now Anduril.
He's definitely shaping the future, whether people like it or not.
All right, so let's try to sum all this up. We talked about Luckey's vision for robots in the military.
Not as soldiers, but as support systems.
And his take on exoskeletons, more for civilian use than military.
Right, and we talked about his journey from Oculus to Anduril.
And how he's trying to disrupt the defense industry.
And we can't forget that massive contract they just got.
Right, inspired by Starship Troopers.
It's all pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really makes you wonder, what's next? What other sci-fi stuff will become reality?
Who knows? But I bet Luckey will be involved somehow.
I think you're right. He's definitely one to watch.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.